Okay, it says click here. Waiting for Event.Cruises. It should be starting up. Hello, anyone out there? Alright, worst case scenario, we just maybe go on YouTube-less and then upload it from Twitch. Oh no, we're good. We're good. Okay, we're cooking.
All right.
At least for like the stream going on. I don't know about audio, but I'm sure folk will let me know. I'll drop the link in chat. Foo, if there's the link for YouTube, Twitch is easy. They automatically put the live video first. YouTube's weird. You have to go to like YouTube Live, and then like I was just there and it didn't show anything. But that's an us problem, not a you problem. Well, I guess it's a you problem for tonight. That's
yeah, a little bit,
a little bit of a problem. All right, Foo, Frank, I put the link for YouTube in there to see there. Foo also said hola. I got a double hola from Foo. We are blessed. Audio's fine, but glitching like usual. I hate it. Glitching audio. I wonder if it's because it's buffering. Whatever. I mean, the videos afterwards sound fine, don't they? Let us see. Well, that's also a future problem. We're good here. If it's playing enough, I think usually the audio is good for that. So, all right. Thanks for taking some time, Mr. Dan Devine, our GM Supreme. Since 2023, or did we pull you on the second one? First one, right?
Yeah, it's been 3 years.
3 years, huh? Yeah. 2023, we got it going on.
And
then we pulled you onto some other ones because, well, we'll talk about that. So for anyone watching, this is part of our weekly stream. We interview some of the cool crew members that we're fortunate enough to find on the wilderness of the internet and coax them onto a ship, sight unseen. These brave fellows.
Yeah, to fight us real hard to get us on a cruise.
That's right. That's right. But it's kind of a leap of faith, right? Like the first time you just have a random person, usually on like Facebook or YouTube, and be like, "Hey, you want to go on a boat?" And you're like, "What's this? You're gonna steal my kidneys?" Like, but we're real, I swear. We have other people to prove it. So a part of that is like just showcasing talent such as Dan here, and learn a little bit about them. And for those of you that are like tabletop enjoyers and aspire to, GM or try GMing in a pro capacity, either at events like ours or other conventions, we'll try to pick up some wisdom along the way because it's not an easy thing. The one thing that I picked up out of this is like GMs wear many hats, and each one of them is incredibly deep as far as like skill can go, right? And like mastery over them. Let alone the other things that you guys run, like Battle Barge is a game master there at a different capacity.
Yep.
So I guess
Jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades, you got to be. So I guess in general for hey, there goes Umbra Walker. Let's see. So we got Rich Howard watching.
Oh man.
There you go. Hey, Rich. Dan the man. Yeah. So I guess that starts with it is like the first question that I usually ask everyone here is like when you had your first true interaction of getting into D&D, what was little Devine or even big Devine doing that got you into tabletop role-playing games? What was that story?
So I was tangentially friends with a whole bunch of gamers back where I used to live growing up. There was a local gaming group. They were organized. They threw little conventions at a nearby hotel, and they kept trying to get me to go. And I'm like, all right, maybe I'll think about it. Sounds weird. But then they got me to go, and I had a blast. It was so cool. Just it was a shock for me. I was like 17 at the time. They kept like dragging me to tables and playing games and doing things. They finally got me to sit down at a tabletop game, and I was like, I don't understand. This sounds like a video game, but there's no controllers or anything. So, and they explained it to me, and like at first, like with most people, I was like, okay, this feels weird and awkward. But as I kind of got into it more, I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. And then one of the friends picked up the books and started running it for us, and it was like, okay, I like this. They were new, so everyone starts somewhere.
Yeah.
I was like, I got this. I'm gonna give books.
Give books. Pass the reins. So what was your first character? Like when you really understood what you were doing beyond those like first jump in games, like what did you make?
So my very first character was actually with World of Darkness. So I was
Ah,
playing a werewolf. I was playing one of the warrior runes from Werewolf the Apocalypse. For D&D though, first character was actually a bard,
nice.
and not the creepy horny bard. No, I was
Werewolf the
actually
Bard.
yeah, not creepy weird bard. No, I was playing a lore master. So I was like, I
Mm.
wanted to dig into the lore. I wanted to see what was going on. I wanted to figure out the world. And little did I know it was Faerun that we were playing at first. So I was like, oh, there's many things to learn about here.
There's a lot.
Excellent.
So you GM'd yourself via GM character. That's
Kind of yeah.
okay. So how long between that point and when you became like you first said like okay, pass the books. I'm gonna GM it myself and either run a campaign from like the books or make your own world.
So I made my own world. I'm always a big fan of doing my own thing. I think the books are great for people to start out with, but I jumped right into it. Mostly because I'm a little bit crazy, but that's how it goes. I would say it was probably 6 months after my very first game. I was
Oh.
starting to GM.
Oh wow, yeah, okay. Well, you weren't a forever GM. You were a forever minus 6 months GM, I guess.
Exactly.
You made it far.
Hmm.
No, that's super cool. Okay, so you made it 6 months from your first character from World of Darkness, the setting, which is Werewolf the
Hmm.
Apocalypse, and then you
Yep.
ended up being a lore master bard in D&D.
Hmm.
And you were still probably like 17, 18 at the time?
Yep.
Okay, okay. And this started from conventions, you said, right? They dragged you
Hmm.
around to the events. Man.
Yep. And then it was a lot of like little local games and trying to pick up games with friends for a long time. Wasn't until much later that I really started GMing at like events and things. So I had some experience under my belt before I tried my first professional style game,
That makes
at a
sense.
convention.
Yeah, yeah. Well, how long did it take to get to that point, I guess, really? Like when did you do either your first game with randoms, paid or unpaid, but where you were approaching it with the mindset of like, I'm going to try to do this professionally or at least, unpaid professionally and build my portfolio and just get into it.
It was probably about 3 years. The same local group was still hosting events. They wanted to get kind of like almost like a gray marches type thing going, and we had set a whole bunch of stuff up, and they asked me to hop in and GM for them, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll help out. I knew most of the people, um, but that's where it kind of took off from there because I really enjoyed the organizing and working with people and playing around with just different groups every now and again.
Mm. Yeah, it's pretty fun. So great, you said gray watches, right? Is that like a modified
The
version?
the great marches, the
Gray marches,
people
okay.
just kind of show up, and or I think that's what it's called. I
Yeah.
forget.
Oh, like the
Uh,
okay, okay, I see what you're saying. It's like
West
yeah, because
Marches, West
I was like,
Marches.
I was like, is this some cool version of like a grim dark West marches, which is already if it's
No, no,
not
no.
already made, you should we do the gray marches here. It sounds awesome.
But no, it's yeah, it was just random people. You showed
Okay.
up, you sat down, you played the game. We had a good time. So
I've never played that version of it. It's always intrigued me though, because it is more like if you were to play a TTRPG as an MMO, I think that's as close as you can get,
pretty
where it's like
much.
you have like the shared server and your characters can
Hmm.
all jump on board. Now,
Yep.
were you GMing or taking part in like the administration of something like that?
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
I was asked to help step in because, well, at first I was just supposed to be a GM, but then I saw how they were organized, and I was like, okay, hey, we need to get a little more word out there a little sooner. We need to, make things a little clear. We need to communicate better. So very quickly, they were willing to take me on to help with some of the administrative stuff.
You were just jumping in with both feet.
Kind of what I do.
So yeah, so spoiler, you also run your own LARPs and things, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And also admins for like basically the equivalent of the West Marches for our Battle Barge Warhammer 40K
Hmm.
cruise, the first one that just recently happened,
Yep.
which was from by all accounts a smashing success. So thank you very much for that.
Of course. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think everyone.
There was a reason I was like, Drew, let me do this. I want to do the thing.
I like I said when on the last night we all shared like one of our favorite moments at the cruise, and like I couldn't believe that a guest said like Battle Barge was better than LVO, which is the Las Vegas Open. It's like one of the largest Warhammer events.
Hmm.
So that was freaking amazing. I'm a
Yep.
Warhammer fan, so I'm also a little biased, but I also love D&D and all the other things, as does Dan here. I'm a
Yep.
man of many hats, many
Uh huh.
systems.
Hmm.
Have you run any of the Warhammer 40K RPGs?
Oh yeah, I've run most of the Fantasy Flight ones. I think the only one I didn't run from there was Only War. So like
Mm.
Death Watch, Dark Heresy. I forget what the Chaos one's called off the top of my head.
Oh
And I
yeah.
ran a bunch of those. I've also done Wrath and Glory from Cubicle 7. I really enjoy that one.
Yeah.
I know we had that on the cruise, and I was so jealous I couldn't participate sometimes.
Well, you will soon, right?
Yeah, I know. But I picked up the other one, it's the other one, the Cubicle 7 does. It does more of the D20 or the D100 system.
Oh, is it the new one, Imperium
Yeah,
Allocatum?
that's it. Yep.
Yeah, I've been dying to play it. I bought like all the stuff for that. It just seems so gritty, so gritty.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. So like the cool thing is for you watching, no matter if you watch us later or if you're live now, Wrath and Glory is what it's a D6 system. It's a little bit more on the high
Right.
power side for
It
Warhammer
can be.
40k. Okay.
Well, I mean, it's 40K. Everything's on the high-powered side. So.
Yeah, yeah. Take it to 10.
Hmm.
So for Battle Barge and probably D20 eventually, we're gonna copy doing this, but we're gonna sponsor some live play sessions from GM Dax Hammond, who runs the Battle Barge Wrath and Glory.
Hmm.
And then we're gonna have like Impending Death play Dax, or
Hmm.
Dax gonna GM, Dan's gonna be a player, and I think we have a couple other guests in store. But we're just gonna try and do more fun stuff off the boat in general. I
Yep.
think so. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I think the first campaign is gonna be orc centric, so a
Yep.
lot of like oi oi oi.
We've already been talking about characters, and they're going to be a little silly.
Oh yeah, you have to be with the orcs. Where's me Daka boss? Heck yeah. No, so that's cool. Okay, so you took the accelerated path from like player to pro GM to event running GM. So it's like you got your PhD in TTRPology over here.
Hmm.
For the first game in general, this is one that I like to ask is like can you remember what you were feeling leading into the game and the kind of prep that you were setting up to it? Were you just kind of like I'm gonna wing it, or were you like preparing like weeks at a time? Like what was going through your brain at the time when you were willing to make that jump?
So I guess that kind of comes down to, where do you want me to start from? Do you want me to start from the early days where I was kind of just doing I'm just helping out, doing a thing here, or when I was actually like leading events, like some LARPing events or
We'll say
other events?
first. We'll do both, but let's start
Okay.
with when you had your first table of mostly randoms, if not completely random players, like non friends.
I almost had a panic attack, I think, to be totally honest, because
The
like,
trend holds.
hmm, well, because you never know what to expect, and if when you're doing this, even if you're really good with your friends, that doesn't mean you're going to have the same things that other people want, especially if that's your only real experience. So I think for me as a GM, having those other experiences was huge because it taught me a lot. So yeah, that first time with a table of people I didn't know, terrified, absolutely.
Yeah, that checks out. I've still been trying to work up the courage for that in general. It's always like, oh, I'm gonna mess it up. I don't know the rules well enough. Well, funny enough, the rules. I mean, the rules are an important thing, but
Hmm.
I'm more of the like fair and balanced play and like get the game moving kind of deal.
Hmm.
But
One of my favorites is rule of cool. If you
cool.
can do something cool and it's not like gonna break the system, I don't care what the rules say. Let's have some fun.
Have some fun with it. Yeah, that's probably the best way to go. Which
Mhm.
it sounds easier, but I think there's like this hump to get over to like allow yourself to just do that.
Mhm.
Because a lot of us will like say like, well, no, I need to read the rules and I need to do it right because like that's sticky, that's coloring within the lines, right? But I think this
Mhm.
game is meant to be more of a free form. Well, not meant to be anything really. I guess it just depends
Yeah.
on the table, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so okay, damn near panic attack. Yeah, that checks out. So
Mhm.
then, your first event where you were like people knew you were hosting it, your reputation was on the line.
Mhm.
Well, was that like panic attack times 10 or lesser? Had you already numbed yourself to the
So
world?
that was the funny thing. That one was easy.
Easy.
Yeah. So like I said, I had had some experience before helping admin games and set things up. So for me, it was just like, okay, I'm just taking it to a slightly bigger extent. Rather than I'm preparing for 40 people, I'm preparing for 170. Because my first event like that was actually when I was a director of a LARP chapter here in Pennsylvania, and it was open to a whole network of LARPers. So I didn't know who I was going to get. we had people traveling from all over, so it was kind of a like, all right, cool. I know a handful of these people. I know what they like. I think I can roll with this.
Yeah, and just jump into it. So
Hmm.
for LARP games, like, is there any like distinct planning difference between that and say like the Marches campaign or campaigning planning in general, like because of the physical components and things?
So with the West Marches and LARPing, I think it's kind of along the same idea. You build a framework and of like, okay, here's my plan, here's what I need, etc. And then you kind of put it out there. And then once it's out there, you got to see how people react and be ready to respond. I think improv skills are really great for that, for anybody who's like running or organizing those things, because then you get that chance of like, okay, rather than freeze up because something went wrong, you can just roll with it and roll it into the story. And I think that feels better and more organic for people.
Man, so 170 we had a Umbra Walker. That's our Rich Howard. He said 40 was our biggest werewolf LARP session.
Mm-hmm.
Man, so you
Well,
went
this
170 was your one of your bigger ones.
yeah, for the opener for that chapter,
Man,
it was a lightest touch boffer LARP, so it's like
okay,
it had the physical component as well as the like running around and whatnot, and it was a large network, Dystopia Rising. So
okay.
there's a there are a lot of people who play that game at the time. Now, mind you, this was back pre-COVID, so COVID did affect that pretty hard.
Yeah, yeah, that was the world froze for a few years.
Hmm.
Oh, hey Toriota, welcome, welcome. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, 170 is a lot there.
Hmm.
All right, so I mean, you have a lot here. So my general question is, what are some of your best memories? I guess since you have like three distinct verticals that you're into here. So like, do you have a core memory for D&D as player or GM,
Hmm.
um, for event running in general, and then LARPing? Now I'm
Okay.
just expanding. I'm like, hey, I gave you some questions. I'm gonna
Yeah.
triple it now.
Sure, no problem. So for D&D, I think it was about 2 years ago now. One of I have a setting that I've been running continuous games through, and they actually affect the setting, and it changes with things. It's one of the settings I offer for D20. Um, I had set up a full table of terrain, and it was essentially the players were in this big old dwarven city that was infested with undead.
Ooh.
They had to escort some like 200 survivors to a partially built train, um, that they were hoping to get out on, and it turned into this massive battle where they're fighting off undead back and forth. They're doing everything they can. And I played with some of the rules for this because it was supposed to be like, oh, they're these big hordes rather than me trying to move around 1,000 models. So I just had like large bases. I put a couple of models on to represent,
Oh,
okay,
smart.
it's this kind of horde rather than, okay, I need 40 of these models. I need 40 of these. Um, and it turned into this really fun experience for them. We actually had to run it over 2 sessions because there was just so much going on. I explained it to them very quickly. Like, okay, you got to get to the train. You got to turn it on the turnstile and back it up to this special car that will lay rails for it as you go. But
Oh,
you've also got to go find the fire elemental core that'll heat up the metal for you, so it'll shape it as you go. Then you got to pull a train back onto the turnstile, turn it up back onto the tracks, all while fighting off undead, getting people on the train, and dealing with some other shenanigans I threw at them.
that's insane. That sounds
Mm-hmm.
pretty epic. I mean, just hordes chasing you. You know what I really like about that was, even if the party's very strong, right? Like even if they min max combat and all that, when you have
Mm-hmm.
something like, oh, you have to save the survivors,
Mm-hmm.
the whole dynamic changes. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you could fly. That's awesome. But the
Mm-hmm.
orphanage back there, bruh, they're about to be zombie munch, man. Like you can't.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And to build that out with the train, that's clever. It seems like
Yep.
a lot of built-in puzzle craft there.
Kind of, yeah. Well, it forced them to really pay attention to what they were doing and when and what they were willing to sacrifice. Because, like, there were also times where the people would just panic and some of them would scatter, and they'd either have to go round them up
Yeah.
or just let them get eaten.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, risk reward, right? You got to be like,
mhm.
hey, if we go after this one person that ran off into the herd, we might lose like 20 more.
Yep, yep.
Good, good. good turmoil decisions. I love that. Okay, okay. So that was D&D as
Mhm,
GMing. So for your events in general,
mhm.
any of them, I guess LARP too, is like what's somewhere you like you just remember you remember the moment vividly and fondly.
Let's see. I have a couple that could fit, but let me figure a good one. I mean, like Battle Barge was definitely one of them for sure.
Your check's in the mail.
No, that was a blast. But let's see. There was a so I was helping out with a Vampire the Masquerade parlor LARP. And we had set up this like 2 year long plot line, and the players just weren't getting it. They weren't getting it. And then somewhere, I don't know how the Jenga blocks fell and all the pieces kind of came together during one event. And watching some people's faces when they're like, oh, this, that they started putting all the other dots together, with the red string and everything. And they're just like, wait, this has been doing, that was part of, and just watching that come together was, for me, it was just like,
The
yes, yeah.
mastermind scratch just right there, feeling good. We
Uh-huh.
got we got two questions here. Is how do you prep for your cruise games, and why do I hear so many people after games talking about how much fun they had?
So honestly, for me, when I prep, I really like sandbox games. I like letting the players explore. I build an interesting setting, and I let them just kind of run wild. What I usually do for the cruises in particular is I'll put together like a framework of like, okay, after I talk with my players, kind of get a feel for what they want, I'll throw together some ideas, but I'll keep them a little on the nebulous side. Because usually my first day of games, I tell people, I was like, hey, I'm going to throw a combat at you. There'll be some easy stuff and there'll be some slightly harder stuff in it. I want to kind of gauge how the group is working, so that way I'm not just overwhelming people, because I like to give them a challenge, but at the same time I'm also not going to just be like, oh, it's just goblins all the time. So I'll use that framework and I'll kind of just plug the pieces in where it feels appropriate for the story. Because for me, that feels more organic. It lets the players feel like they have agency in what's going on. But I might also change it up a little bit. Like, oh, they're supposed to meet High Lord Muckety Muck over here, and they're going to say this. Well, okay, they need the next piece of the plot line if they're actually following it. And okay, they decide they're going to go raid the Rogues Guild or something. Okay, he's a hostage in the back, and then they can get the new piece of information. So I play around with that, so that way people still feel like they can do stuff, but the story still moves forward. So it is kind of a collaborative thing more than just here's your one path, keep walking, see the sights.
Yeah, yeah, it becomes more video game-esque when you do that, right? Rather than like an
Mm-hmm.
emergent story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, but like I actually prefer GMing than playing. I just don't do it in a professional, like public context because imposter syndrome.
Yeah, right.
But I enjoy GMing much like that. And just see your thoughts on it is because the game for me as a GM is that emergent story. Like I don't know what the players
Mm-hmm.
are going to do and how the dice are going to land, and that's the fun for me.
Yep.
To be like, okay, scramble time. How do we put this together? How
Mm-hmm.
do we get that Vampire the Masquerade moment where they're like, oh, it's all connected, man? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, no, and I agree. That's a big part of the fun for me, because then it's like that. Okay, I got to react quick. How can I make this interesting? Plus, you can also stumble into things that maybe you didn't even think about, or a character has this like realization. It starts this whole new arc because of something, and you can have a lot of fun with it. And that way, the characters feel alive and real and can really develop with the players.
Yeah, that feels way more authentic. Love that.
Hmm.
In general, let's see, did we get to my big question? We got the cruise stuff, the one that I love to talk about for Moon Money.
Hmm.
Best memory. Oh yeah, we're at it. We're at the money question.
All
So,
right.
given infinite money and time to create a product of your or product or project of your choosing, what would it be? What's the thing that like, you since you're either little gamer or big gamer now and you're like, I want my VR MMO, deep dive, die in the game, die in real life kind of thing.
So, because I do a lot with LARPing, it would honestly be buy a massive chunk of land and build on it to create kind of a Ren Fair slash LARPing venue that would appeal to a bunch of different audiences. Like over in this one little area, I might build a orc themed camp, or over here, I build your like more standard medieval style little village, where there'd be a central area that would be probably very Ren Fair esque, you know,
Yeah.
tavern, inns, things like that, blacksmiths, all that kind of stuff, and then wire it all up with cameras and speakers. That way I can keep an eye on people. We can, you know, do mysterious calls from over there when we don't have to have somebody over there.
Creepy. That'd be like
Mhm,
the disembodied GM voice coming from the
mhm,
woods.
yep. And with that, you could also do like like one of the large metal buildings where you have an interior that you can like shift around to do like
Mm.
mazes or caverns or
Almost
things
like a
like that.
stage set kind of deal.
Kind of, yeah. There's a couple of places I've heard of that have something like that, where they have like rails in the ceiling and they can move like walls around and set up
Oh man.
different like mazes and things.
Yeah.
Um, I also appreciate brewing mead, so I would also want to have my own little meadery on the
That's
on the
why
land.
that's why you got a tavern, right? Tavern's gotta have
Exactly.
mead.
But it would also be something where probably do like a small farm on there. That way we could actually provide fresh vegetables and
Yeah.
fruits for people. Nice industrial kitchen for either that tavern or maybe like a feasting hall or something. And then we could throw meals for folks. We could do feasts, and just in general, just a place where people could go, get away for a weekend or maybe even a week if somebody wants to do a big event, and just relax and have a good time and let go. And, you know, hopefully get them feel a little bit better before they can go back to real life.
Reality. Old,
Mm-hmm.
black, white, and gray reality.
Yep.
Sounds cool. So it's basically like a LARP resort
Yeah.
with a
Kind
bit
of.
of well, I guess like not just a bit, a lot of like self-sufficiency as far as like farming and
Mm-hmm.
making meat in there. Yeah, I
Yep.
mean that sounds awesome, especially if it's like your passions to do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever played around and looked into like what that might cost?
So I have.
Yes.
Um, it's a number that makes me cry. Though there was a camp owner who approached me about my current LARP and actually asked me to run a game at his location, which is unheard of for most
Oh,
LARP
wow.
runners. And he wanted to do that with us. He wanted to let us help him develop the land and turn it into this. He unfortunately passed away shortly after we met, but it was still one of those like, man, that was right there. Could have happened.
Oh, that hurts.
Mm,
Could happen. Well, still could happen. Life.
yep.
Life is mysterious in these ways. Maybe you will get the moon money. Who knows?
Hey, who knows?
I hear you might be interested in starting streaming, huh?
Maybe
You ever
it's something I've
follow
been
it?
kicking around. I know Dax and I have been talking about doing like some podcasting type stuff, doing like
Heck
short
yeah.
stories and some conversations about 40K, trying to both promote Battle Barge as well as, you know, just something we enjoy doing and hanging out. You know, me, I'm a longtime player. I've been playing for almost 15 years. Dax is getting back into it after a long break, and we're thinking about maybe grabbing somebody who's like a little bit on the newer side, so that way we
Yeah.
have some different perspectives and chat about different things. And we're
Gotta
actually
have the
working on some.
greenhorn.
Mhm. We're working on some short stories that we want to get some people to like read for it as well. You know, all kind of playing in and leading up to the narrative for Battle Barge of 2026.
Oh man, I'm hyped. I'm so hyped. Where we left it off last year and then leading it like that's the kind of thing that makes me excited because like the much like the LARP resort and like what we do with the cruises, being able to do things around your own personal interests are super excited, right? So like
Hmm.
I've always wanted to see a multi-game campaign like what we did on Battle Barge where it's like you play your games in Warhammer 40K, so it's
Hmm.
your armies on the field and then you have like kill teams which are your special forces and then you may do like Battlefleet Gothic which is ships in space all affecting the same world. Like there are
Hmm.
versions of that kind of commingle, but and Wrath and Glory, the TTRPG
Hmm.
side of it being folded in.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. So the outcome of that set the year one for Battle Barge's lore, and that will
Hmm.
be carrying over into the role playing game that you guys are going to be doing
Yep.
starting in January every
Hmm.
month. And it'll start the campaign for 2026.
Hmm.
and we'll
Yep.
have some guests in there and all that, and that's gonna be super cool. And then we're gonna see how it goes for how the war goes in 2026.
And the short stories we're planning will also help kind of build like the lore around what's going on. So you'll see some other sides to things that maybe before people were like, huh, I wonder about what they meant about that. Or, oh, that's interesting.
Plot twists.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, oh, I believe it. I believe it. Okay, well, I mean, if you get your LARP resort going, I'd definitely book.
Heck yeah.
That seems like the best way to do it. Like yeah. So do you have anything for D20? You had mentioned that you have a shared world that you use for
Mhm,
D20, just in general, right? So
mhm,
GM Way Stark does something similar, which
mhm.
is really cool to see because that seems like it's such an extra lift, but such a value add
Yep.
for everyone involved, right? Because you have like this
Mhm.
robust world that you have intimate knowledge of, better than you could have any like book that you picked up from Wizards of the Coast or something like that.
Yeah.
Can you give me a little synopsis of what that kind of world is like? What vibe is it?
So I usually offer people because I like sandbox stories. I have three settings I usually use. The one I was talking about before, it's called Nihirata. Essentially, there was a dark elf empire that just was causing problems for everyone. So a lot of the villages and country folk, they all kind of fled to these couple of cities. They were called the Seven Sentinel cities. So now imagine cities like this, the size of like modern day cities, but in a medieval type setting, and all the problems and difficulties they'd have. But they're huddled together because they're terrified of these dark elf raiders showing up. Um, Basically, it was a lot of back and forth, a lot of fighting. The Empire got pushed on its back at left feet, and they decided to do something really dumb and tried to basically sacrifice a god to gain power, only to rip open a hole to straight to the abyss, and something came out. This creature basically caused an undead plague to spread across the world, and the six of the seven cities have fallen, and basically it's a undead apocalypse world where the final city, which is called Nihirata, is a city of faith. It was where a bunch of faiths came together and were commingling. They put aside their nonsense because we're like, hey, that out there is real bad, and we seem to be the only ones that can deal with it. So yeah, let's work together. And then players usually end up being one of these teams sent out to try and recover relics or artifacts or even just scout places. I know the first year my team went to the dwarven city in the setting where they basically were fighting like steampunk zombies all over the place.
Oh man.
And their goal was to establish a foothold so that other teams could teleport into the city rather than having to fight their way through hordes to get there.
Yeah.
And they accomplished that, which was later put to use in another game. My other group that did it, they went to a city that was basically floating on an inland sea, and they established a deal with a certain dark power to protect them from the undead. But they were given they had 10 years to do a certain thing, otherwise it was going to cause problems.
Oh man, did they learn the first time from the other kingdoms like sacrificing a god? That's like the
No.
recurring theme. Don't make deals. Don't do anything with the gods.
Yep. Leave them be. Let them go.
Only follow Crom, because by the strength of your own hand will you win the day. Heck yeah.
But then I also have Tyranova, which is, imagine if the mortal plane and the Feywilds got overlapped.
Oof.
And basically it's you're hired as what's called a wayfinder. Your job is to go from villages and find your way to other villages trying to reunite people. But you have to travel through this twisted landscape that is part Fey, part real. So you've got everything from like floating rocks all over the place to illusory forests where nothing is quite real.
Oh god.
And then you got all kinds of other crazy Fey shenanigans going on, and it's everything from Sealy, unsealy, and everything in between.
Oh man, I really like that idea because like I mean, all of them sound amazing. But the Feywild one is like, it seems super exploration heavy. Because like, okay, your
Mm-hmm.
job is to find paths to different villages. The undead world one is like, there is no find. There's point A to B, dude. Like, you gotta hoof it.
The question is, how the heck do you do that
Yeah,
sometimes?
yeah. Well, you send one suicide team into the dwarven stronghold first to get the
Hmm.
teleport, and then you follow leisurely.
Exactly.
Just don't be the first volunteers, I guess.
Mhm.
Personally, for you, which is your favorite to build from, or currently? Because sometimes I know like cycles go through. But
Mhm.
what's tickling your fancy currently?
For like worlds, or in what regard?
I guess in that sense. So you have your worlds and all, but let's expand it a little bit more. Like what's your I guess I can't even say it properly, but like this, okay. Sometimes if I watch Lord of the Rings, I'm like, man, Gandalf is super cool. I'm gonna go play a mage in World of Warcraft because that
Okay.
had sparked my intrigue for that thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
What in your life right now is where you're like, I am obsessed with this thing and I want to create around it?
That's a tough one. I my LARP is actually based on a setting that I've been working on and off for almost 20 years. It's something I kept very close to the chest for a long time because I've had bad experiences with people who wanted to like roll in and claim credit for things that wasn't exactly great. But it was something I wanted to really do something with, so I decided to turn it into a LARP, and I've been working on the novel for it. So I've been doing a lot of tweaking, some world building, and working on that. It's something I finally sat down. I was like, no, I've been working on this way too long. I need to put this in. I need to get this novel done.
Yeah.
So I've been working on that. I'm about maybe a third of the way through it,
Oh
but
heck yeah, dude.
it's a lot of. I go back and forth, and then I'm like, oh, but I need to add this detail. Oh, I need to add this detail,
Oh
and then
man.
it's.
Yeah. I know that itch. That's the feature creep, the scope creep. It just when
Mm-hmm.
you're a creator, that's the real kryptonite, right?
Yep.
Not writer's block sometimes. Sometimes just I gotta get everything in. I gotta do it
Mm-hmm.
perfectly.
Or you just got to go back and make things consistent. Like,
Hmm.
oh, I did this in this one scene this way, but did I do it earlier in a
Yeah.
similar scene? No, crap. Now I got to figure out which one do I want to keep.
Character A was lost forever. Next scene, character A shows up.
What?
Oops, continuity bug.
Yep.
I guess it's interesting on like the creator side of things. So like the writing is difficult. It sounds like it's an easy thing, but it's a very difficult thing to make it an interesting story, a cohesive story. How
Mm-hmm.
would you rate it on a scale of like, you know, GMing preparation versus novel preparation or like writing?
I feel like GMing is easier because you do have a little more grace with it because it can be a fluid story. You can tweak things and move things around in the moment because it's not this story that people can sit and reread constantly or like go through and nitpick things like.
Actually, you said this character was from.
Mhm. Whereas with like role-playing games, it can be real simple, like, oh, well, I guess you're right, I guess I did mess that up, so let's just tweak this right now. And it's not like they're going to be able to go back and just replay it unless you're recording your sessions or something.
True.
So you're like, you get a little more leeway in that regard.
Yeah.
But like when I'm writing a lot of this stuff, I like I said, there's a lot of times where I hit a wall and I'm like, okay, I did this, I have to go back and be consistent. Now I have to reread everything again.
Yeah, I can imagine. I wouldn't be able to do that. Like the constant rereading of my own stuff. Oof.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good then. Do you have this is rough. Not that well, actually no, this is good for you. Do you have a projected release date you'd like to aim for with your work here? We'll put a little
Oh,
deadline pressure on you. You heard it
killing
here
me.
first.
um 2 years.
2 years. Okay, so
Yeah.
D20 2027 we should be previewing your book.
Oh man, you gotta kill me. But all right. All
Positive
right.
pressure, man. Positive pressure. I think the only times that I get projects done personally, like I've gone through like game dev stuff and like deadlines for
Hmm.
like publishers and stuff, is go to conventions and like be signed up for something. So it's like all or nothing kind of deal.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Well,
we'll write it into the 2027 agenda now. It'll be like
great.
a first reading by Dan Devine.
Ray. No pressure there. Nah, for me, what really gets me going is when like I'll share it with somebody because they're like, "Hey, I heard you're doing this thing," and when I see them excited, it gets me excited, and it really builds my want to work on the things. And just there's a it's a weird balance sometimes. It's like I want to share a bunch of stuff at the same time, like that's not quite ready yet, so I'm gonna wait. But man, I could really use that hit of like somebody else's excitement.
Yeah, man, maybe that would be cool is if we start like kind of a reverse book club, more of like a writers club, and just start that up because there's so many GMs that are creating really cool stuff here,
Hmm.
right? And sometimes it just takes that, right? Like that
Yeah.
infectious excitement, or
Hmm.
someone will just be talking about their project or their world, and you're like, oh shit, that's an option. I could do that.
Hmm.
Or
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, it's okay for me to do these things in general.
Hmm.
I guess this is a start, anyways, as far as our content. So you're already kind of building that scaffolding for others right now, which is awesome.
Trying to.
Umber Walker, you could retcon it in tabletop. I guess that's true when, like, your
Hmm.
story's going off the rails when you start getting crazy eyes from your players, and you're like, actually, that didn't happen. We're doing this now.
Yep. Yep.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Okay, so you got a lot of projects going on. That's awesome.
Hmm.
A lot of plates spinning. What's the
Hmm.
one that I guess is an interesting one. Aside from like creating, have you ever had to just stop a project that you absolutely loved, but you knew really wasn't going to go anywhere for you, or like just kind of hit a wall?
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I had a couple of projects that some people made some claims that like they felt they should have gotten a lot more credit than they did.
Hmm.
Um, it always kind of for me boiled down to I don't want to sit here and argue with you over this. I have my own opinions, but if this is going to prevent us from moving forward, then I'll just put the project away.
Hmm.
I'll kill it on the table because I don't want to go through with this because for me it was at the risk of losing friendships,
Oh yeah.
and I was like, I I would rather not lose a friendship over a project. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I was excited for it, but you know, my friends are important to me. So sometimes that worked, sometimes it didn't. So
Well, that's a very mature way to approach it because some people absolutely go scorched earth when it comes to projects.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's fair though to be able to do it. Sometimes you gotta let them go. I've seen that. So we used to run a game dev community in Miami, and there's a lot of people that like stick to projects that may not be the right time, maybe be ahead of the curve or just something, but you can see it's like just draining all their creative energies in the worst kind of way because it is a
Mm-hmm.
dual-edged sword, right? Like
Yeah.
you get so attached to a thing, you get so passionate, you dump a lot into it, and then it just gets hard or
Mm-hmm.
impossible, right?
Yep.
Let alone from the business side of things, right? So like I like to talk about it every now and then because there's like the art side, but if you want to do your art permanently, you need to also consider the business side because unfortunately we all need to eat, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You got a question. Does your love of werewolves leak into or inspire storylines in your other games? If so, how?
It can, but I try to I try to temper that a lot because I know I've run into people that just don't like the concept or those things. For me, it was like Werewolf the Apocalypse. It wasn't so much about, oh, I'm just this last ditch hero trying to save the world from all this terrible stuff. It was also about dealing with the internal struggles of, I'm a rage filled monster that could snap at any moment. And that was something I really like to focus on. And that's probably what I took over more to other games is really trying to make people consider what makes their character tick, what would make them snap, what would make them be willing to give up everything and go from like betray someone. Some players they're not looking for that level of depth. They just want to roll dice and laugh at silly things. But every now and again, I'll get players that like really like those intense moments, and they'll come to me after and like, I never expected the character to go this way. They're like, cool. Let's see where that's gonna go.
I love that. Yeah, you got a resounding yes from that one. I I love that too for like a gaming perspective. So like the last time that I was playing D&D, my character was into gambling as his vice. So I
Mm-hmm.
would often have to be like, I would make myself take wisdom saves whenever the GM would bait me and say, "Hey, there's a
Mm-hmm.
guy in this port town that's swearing to you these crates of wine that he has are going to be the best selling thing ever. He's asking if you want to invest in it." And then I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, I want to buy new weapons, but
Yep.
my gambling vice must kick in.
And I think that brings a lot to the game because then, yeah, you could get weird story hooks that maybe you didn't think were going to happen, or it gives the GM more things to just play around with to maybe suck you into a certain area when the party's deviating maybe a little too much.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's also one of the coolest things is when someone realizes they have that capability to actually influence a story, like, and truly realize it's role play, right? Because like
Hmm.
video games are awesome, but they're very linear, and you
Yep.
can't. They're like they always say like role playing games, but they never truly are. Like, yeah, you may pick a path on a road, but it's not really
Hmm.
like how you want to influence it.
Yeah.
Um, but when you see a new player realize how much freedom they have and the
Hmm.
lights go on,
Hmm.
it's amazing, right?
Oh
Like
yeah.
where you're like when they get silly and like, oh, can I do X to this NPC? Like it's gonna have no consequence. It's like you're
Hmm.
crazy, but here you go.
Yep. Yep.
That's Frank. Frank on the
Mhm.
cruise. First time he was playing, he's a madman. He's a madman. No, that's awesome. Okay, cool. So you got a lot going on with that. Happened to me. I thought there was invisible walls. There's Frank. I thought there were invisible walls. He almost got arrested because of his shenanigans.
I
Yeah,
mean, most new players usually run into that. It's the
yeah.
guards or the
You got to test
police
the
or
boundaries, right?
whatever,
Yeah,
whatever system you're in.
yeah. Closest you get to that as a player, I guess, is like the Skyrim tropes of
Mhm.
stop right there, criminal scum, right? Like,
Uh,
right, that kind of deal. Let's see. I got actually on that. Do you play any video games consistently, or?
oh, I cycle through games pretty regularly, but if I had to pick a couple that I go back to, Helldivers 2, definitely.
Okay. Yep.
I their new war bond they dropped. It's got a minigun and the flamethrower drone jetpack, and well, I'm a flamethrower guy in that game, so
Purity.
all flamer build. I was like, yes, my time has come.
My time. Yeah, I'd be dead in 5 seconds because the thing would constantly be igniting me. Just the yelling. Burn
Mhm.
it all.
Yep. Definitely do a lot of survival games, so like Valheim, not so much Minecraft, but I'm trying to think of some of the other ones I've done recently.
You ever play
Dune
Project
Awakening.
Zomboid?
I have. Oh, that game drives me up a wall sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, it does. If you play that game on vanilla, it's like such a slow, miserable grind, but it's so good
Hmm.
for the thematics of it, of like
Hmm.
just slow doom and gloom.
The last time I played, I was driving a box truck just full of goodies back to base, and I they blew out the tire and just
Oh.
swarmed me, and I had spent hours collecting all of that and just loading it all up, ready to go back with this huge haul. And then I lost everything. And every time I tried to go back, I just get slaughtered, even with help, because whatever was going on, this horde just would not end.
They just kept coming. I
Mm,
wonder if you had the helicopter event going on.
maybe I have no idea.
It's such an absurd thing. Yeah, that kind of
Hmm.
game's cool. And then Dune, I think Foo started playing Dune a few months ago. He said it's a really
Yep.
good game.
Yeah. I think once they drop some new material, some new content, I'll have a lot of fun with it. The end game is okay, but if you're not really big on PvP, then it's a little lacking.
Yeah, yeah. I man, I wish we had an MMO that we could just pop up in the community that like
Right?
free to play for most people because I don't want to ever put a burden or something on them. But
Hmm.
it's so hard now with most
Yeah,
games. Yeah,
really
but
is.
that's why we got other hobbies like D&D
Hmm.
and all these things. So we're coming up on the end of time here.
Okay.
Do you have anything like a project that we could actively support now, or something you want us to check out for posterity's sake on the site here? Now's your time to share it.
If you're in the northeast-ish area around like Pennsylvania, Ohio, I do run a LARP through most of the year. It's called Memories of Graywin. Our website is www.memoriesofgraywin. Now, let me spell Graywin for you. It's spelled a little goofy. It's
Mhm.
GRAEWYNN.
WYNN.
Mm-hmm.
WYNN.
It's a setting that I've been working on for a long time. There's a lot to it. It looks intimidating, like any kind of long-term established kind of thing. But I've worked really hard on trying to make it feel intuitive and really the only reason the rulebook got as long as it did is because a lot of my feedback was like, but I want this thing in the rules to make sure that it's clear. And I was like, okay, I'll add it. And then my rule book went from something like 100 pages, including lore, to I think it was like I think it's 187 right now, and that's just the rules and mechanics. But we also have rules for custom species building and a very wide selection of skills and abilities. So you don't build a what I call a tall character. So you don't go to level 40. No, you get to like level 5 in things, but there's a bunch of things to get.
More like a horizontal progression rather than like
Mm-hmm.
super vertical.
Yep,
No, it's awesome. We dropped your link in chat. Fushark beat me on Twitch,
appreciate that.
and then he said it was in the email, so the email did go out, and I had to
Cool.
retort that it's not like I read things. Big assumption is if I could read. That's super cool though. Yeah, looking forward to your book.
Mhm.
Hopefully, between that, if you do start streaming, we'll make sure to touch base again and talk about it.
Yep.
Dax, as soon as we're done with the GMs, I want to talk with, well, he's also a GM, but he's a Battle Barge GM.
Mhm.
Get him on here for a chat too, maybe in between one of his sessions with y'all.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, there's a lot going on, and we're prepping for D20 coming up in April.
Mhm.
Um, we have most of the GM secured, but if you're a GM and you applied, we're still recruiting probably up until February. So there, I hope we can bring more on board, but we'll find out. And either way, we'll have a great time. But it's always good to bring everyone back. It's like it becomes kind of like a summer camp, getting to know
Mhm.
everyone. I wish I could hang out more on the cruise ship. Maybe this stream is my attempt at bonding with the gang off hours.
Mhm.
Yeah, you gotta can't wait to see you on the cruise, Dan.
Yeah, man. Be great to see
Yeah,
you again.
it's
I
good
always have
being.
a blast on the cruises.
Yeah, I look forward to it. It's a good old summer camp.
Mhm.
So if you watch us and you're interested in going and possibly being at Dan's table, we are still selling passes up until February. I think all the balconies are sold out, which is awesome. But we could still check. We could always ask Royal Caribbean and figure out what they got out of there. And we also added in a thing called the Light Pass now, because unfortunately everything in the world is getting more expensive. So we're trying to adapt and make use of what we can. Like the junior suites, they're like double the price of what we used to pay for them.
Ugh.
Yeah, yeah, but we're not going to get rid of them because people really enjoyed like having a nice
Mhm.
view with the ocean and
Yep.
whatnot. So now we have like the basically the VIP pass or the all inclusive, and then there's a light pass where it's like you may not have a dedicated game with these exceptional GMs that you see on these streams, but you may have some with other GMs that are also exceptional in the conference center. Although Dan
Mhm.
has run some in the conference center before, just because it's like I want a big game going on.
Exactly. And not just that, I love building 3D maps, especially with the stuff y'all bring. I love having that just representation so people have things to interact with.
I got to remember to ask you after this at some point before, at least sometime before D20, to be like, from all the terrain that we brought from Battle Barge that we made for that, what should
Mhm.
we bring to D20, or what else should we print in general?
That's a
Because
good point.
I have
Yep.
like so many models that I could bring, but it's like some GMs prefer Theater of the Mind, some prefer
Mhm.
2D maps. But I'm
Yep.
like, we got to have some like a giant fortress, like something, like just build a
Yeah.
big centerpiece.
Mhm.
I'll
Hey,
start printing
I'll
now,
run something
man.
on that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
do
start
it.
printing right
Yeah.
now. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that's awesome. Well, cool.
Mm.
Thanks very much for everything that you do, being a part of this, and going forward, just all the awesome things we're going to be able to accomplish as a gang, a gaggle of geeks.
Yep. Regular geeks who love having fun and telling stories for people.
That's right. That's right. Well, all right. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. If you enjoyed what you heard here, or even if you didn't, you want to just be friendly to us, like and subscribe, and
Please
maybe
be
share with a
friendly to
friend.
us.
Yeah, please be friendly to us.